Our next speaker is Dr. Vijay Kumar from Erode, and he's the center head of our Eye Foundation group of hospitals based at Erode, an extremely prolific surgeon, and he is going to show his teaching video. On to you, Dr. Vijay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I thank Dr. Chitra ma'am for giving me this opportunity in this prestigious forum to present my case. My case is case of ocular epidermis albinism, wherein I have placed in an anterior intraocular lens. So the case is a 45-year-old male with ocular epidermis albinism, with hand movements vision in the right eye, with counting fingers at 3 meters in the left eye, lens showing nuclear sclerosis grade 2 with posterior subcapsular cataract, and iris is hypochromic with 6 millimeter dilatation in both the eyes. A-scan showed an IOL power of plus 32 diopters and maximal length of 20 millimeters and an anti-chamber depth of 2.8 meters. So this is the anterior IOL which I was able to place in that case. The importance of showing this slide is to emphasize that the size, overall length of the anterior IOL is 12.75 millimeters, which is a rigid PMMA lens with a clear 5.5 mm central zone and an opaque iris diaphragm of 2.2 mm width in the periphery. A-count state of this lens was 118.2. Since the axial length is on the lower side, I've given 100 ml of 20% mannitol before surgery. So I proceeded with a small incision cataract surgery rather than large incision cataract surgery. The incision size was measured to 11 centimeter with a nice exterior collar tunnel with a large side pockets on either side. The side pockets were made large enough to accommodate the large PMMA rigid lens. The size was around 6 millimeters, so the rhexis was proceeded after anterior chamber entry. And proceeded with an under the pupil rhexis, so that nucleus comes out easily. I wanted to preserve the zonules as well as the back so that we can place the large PMMA lens in the sulcus. After hydrodissection, I enlarged the pupil with sphincterotomies. And slowly dial the cataract into the AC, and with viscoelastic, deliver the nucleus out. Remnant cortex was taken out nice slowly. This is the anterior IOL with the nice black iris diaphragm design. Iris was so thin, placing it in sulcus was a little difficult initially. Like gently pulling the iris onto the diaphragm. This is the post-op picture. And this is the post-op video on the first post-op day. The vision improved from hand movements to 636 for distance and the N18 for near. Patient was very happy because his glare and photophobia have reduced. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Vijay. I have a question for you. Now, in these cases, do you make it a point to, can you stop sharing your screen?
Yes.
In these cases where you make it a point to explain to the patient about the probably challenge of the visual potential in these eyes, you have to stop sharing your screen.
Yes.
Why it's not happening?
It's not happening.
Okay. Yeah. So would you need to explain about the visual potential in these eyes, because foveal hyperplasia is very much possible in these eyes. So do you make it a point to explain to these patients? And yes, definitely an interesting surgery to have done. And since it's a large optic thing and the nucleus was hard, doing an SICS is definitely a good alternative way of going about the surgery. But are there, I'm asking the expert panel, I myself do not know, could you have gone in for a less black colored pupil, iris color, because it didn't go well with the albinism in these eyes? Could there have been a lighter color? What's the experience of the expert panel about this? And what is their experience about the iris pigment dispersion, which could happen in some of these Indian IOLs? Who would like to take this answer from the expert panel?
I would like to comment one. I think this was a case of albinism. So the bag was all right. I think there was no subluxation as such.
Yeah.
So I think one of the options could be aniridia rings, which can be placed inside the bag, and you could put a regular IOL, and you can do through small incision. Of course, I think what the surgery was done was excellent with a great outcome. I think with dark iris implants with certain Indian companies, I have come across reports that they shade the pigments over a period of time. So that we should be aware of. But apart from that, I think cosmetically, we have to speak with the patient to know about the the color of the implant. But I think aniridia segments could be a great option, which I have done in few cases and works well.
Okay. Dr. Satyajit, do you have anything to ask?
No, ma'am. Nice surgery.
Vijay, to begin with, Vijay is one of our great surgeons in our team and very fast and a quick, competent person. Vijay, this was the better eye that you operated upon?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We did it, sir. Foveal hyperplasia was on the right side. The foveal thickness was around 190, the right eye. Left eye was 160.
And was the patient having a lot of complaints of glare, etc.? To begin
with?
Yes,
sir. Using dark goggles only, sir, before.
Sorry?
When patient used to come out in sunlight, the patient was using dark goggles just to avoid glare. He was saying that he was seeing better with dark goggles. So I gave this patient this option that there is this iris diaphragm thing which reduces the glare. We might not need to use dark glasses every time when you come out. The patient is saying that he's symptomatically definitely improved. He came post-op day without glasses, without dark glasses, just to see me and thank me that the glare is reduced.
It seems to have worked very well in your case, but I have my own reservations about these patients born with albinotic eyes and congenital colobomas. I've seen some displays of videos where they do a 4-through pupilloplasty to close up a coloboma of the iris, and in this case, the patient is born with this, and most often by this age, they have more serious problem, foveal hypoplasia, poor vision, and they are used to this kind of bright light going into their eyes. Unlike a traumatic loss of iris tissue, where it's a new thing that has been introduced, the patients find it a little difficult to handle. And the human optics lenses like this obviously are very expensive. We don't have access to them. I have personally used these lenses, but then, as was mentioned, chelation of pigment from these lenses is known to occur, and secondary glaucoma is again a problem the patients have to deal with. And also, these are aspects that need to be kept in mind. And when this is the only eye of a patient and you want to do the simplest possible surgery, maybe cosmetically you get good results and reduce the glare. But I personally have my own reservations about doing something on an eye which the patient is born with. Because over the period of time, they are most often used to the problem they have. And I feel that the closure of a congenital coloboma or using this kind of lenses in an albinotic fundus is not really necessary, because as you know, the albinotic retina can also be predisposed to severe complications. Subsequent retinal surgery may be needed. And this eye also, there could be, I'm sure the foveal thickness is not adequate. The visual potential itself is limited because of 636 vision. But as a surgery, it looked nice.
Dr. Nikhil, you wanted to add something? You made a comment in the chat. Dr. Nikhil, you have anything to...
That was my question. Sometimes you can tattoo the peripheral cornea, whether that is an option.
Okay, okay, right. So we